What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another NBA video and kind of discussion to go over with you guys. This time actually revolving around Damian Lillard and whether or not he should request a trade. And this is not really will he request a trade, because we already kind of know at this point that Damian Lillard is not going to be requesting a trade, at least for the time being. I mean, he seems pretty happy at Portland. He's trying to do the challenge where he can try and win a championship with Portland instead of going to a rather big market team. But that obviously, it doesn't stop the discussion on whether or not he should request the trade and whether or not teams should potentially be going after him. And that's what I'm going to be going, and talking about in this video on, whether or not, what teams should be going after Damian Lillard if he was to potentially request a trade in maybe a year's time or something like that. Or if maybe Portland were to have another bad season next year, would it be, maybe a wise move for both teams to kind of look for a trade, and what teams, again, should try and trade for Damian Lillard? Now, of course, if you're a Portland fan, obviously, again, I don't want to, cause any trouble or anything like that, but I just wanted to kind of make this video to, kind of put it out there. But again, I'm saying it again. We obviously know that this video isn't on, what team is Damian Lillard going to request a trade to, because we obviously know that he isn't going to request a trade at this point in time. He's happy at Portland, and that's obviously a thing. It's whether or not, should he request a trade in a, year or so or something like that. And again, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first team that I'm going to be talking about on a team that I think should potentially target Damian Lillard in, the next year or so, and that is actually going to be the New York Knicks. Now, the New York Knicks are they're a very big market team. We obviously know this now, and New York have had a lot of trouble recently, and they just haven't been able to find a point guard. And one thing that's really interesting that I think a lot of people actually forget is Damian Lillard isn't, 25 or 26 about to go in his prime. Damian Lillard is actually like 28, 29 years old, who's in his prime right now. He's in a win-now situation, and right now Portland aren't really giving him that win-now situation. They've had a lot of injuries and all this type of stuff, I know. But it's not like the New York... You're probably saying, well, it's not like the New York Knicks are going to be any different than that. But what's interesting about the New York Knicks is they are such a big market team that I'm sure they'll be able to potentially find Damian Lillard another player to try and play with. But of course, right now, I think the New York Knicks have their sights set on different things. For example, it looks like they're really interested in drafting LaMelo Ball. We've obviously known this for some time. For those of you who haven't seen, I definitely highly recommend going and checking out my LaMelo Ball videos. As yeah, the New York Knicks seem to be really interested in LaMelo Ball, and at this point they actually look like they may have even shown some interest in LiAngelo Ball to kind of bring the Ball brothers together in New York, which I think would be very interesting. On top of them also being interested in LaMelo Ball, they're also interested in another point guard in Chris Paul, which is rumored they're going to try and bring both of these players together. So Chris Paul will, play that kind of off-ball type of point guard role, because we obviously know that LaMelo Ball definitely specializes and plays his best when he does have the ball in his hands. And then, what would potentially happen is LaMelo Ball would be the one to mainly have the ball in his hands. Chris Paul would play that off-ball type of role that he's played so well at the Houston Rockets and has done a bit of right now with the Oklahoma City Thunder when, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Dennis Schroeder decide to isolate the ball. And then when it comes to the defensive end, then they'd pretty much swap positions, as LaMelo Ball would then go on to play that shooting guard type of role where he would guard the shooting guard position and LaMelo Ball would guard the point guard position. Now, I think this is really cool, and this is honestly the move that I think they should go with. But right now, if they kind of have an idea of maybe, Chris Paul isn't really the guy, which again, I definitely think he is, a cool thing that I think would be interesting right now is to maybe draft LaMelo Ball, and then an interesting thing would be to wait a year and see what's happening with Damian Lillard and maybe try and trade for him and then kind of create a backcourt duo of Damian Lillard and LaMelo Ball instead of a backcourt duo of obviously Chris Paul and LaMelo Ball. I think that would be extremely interesting and something we could definitely see. But of course, I'm kind of ruling out the New York Knicks here for now because I honestly think they are very down the road of that Chris Paul-LaMelo Ball duo, because it looks like they're going to extremely try to trade up to get LaMelo Ball. It looks like they're going to try and trade for Chris Paul and kind of build that really nice big three, really, of RJ Barrett, LaMelo Ball, and Chris Paul. That would be extremely interesting. They still have a really nice core of Mitch Robinson, etc. So yeah, I don't know. I think the New York Knicks would be an interesting team to try and offer a trade for Damian Lillard. But I honestly think that Damian Lillard would rather probably stay at Portland. And honestly, Portland are definitely in a way better shape than what the New York Knicks are right now. Again, I know Portland have had a really bad season and they've had a lot of injuries here and there as well. But let's look at this. You know, Carmelo Anthony's playing out of his mind right now. Rodney Hood's going to be coming back from injury. Zach Collins is going to be coming back from injury. They just acquired Trevor Ariza, who looks to be a nice player that they can potentially have now, which may send Rodney Hood to play that really vital six-man role. Then they have Nurkic coming back, and then they can look to maybe even sign Hassan Whiteside if they really want to. And then they could have, you know, a bench as well of maybe Rodney Hood, Zach Collins, Anthony Simons, Nazir Little, Mario Arizona, etc. Looks like a really nice bench, and I think Damian Lillard would definitely way rather stay at the Trailblazers for this time being than maybe go to the New York Knicks. But again, it's not ruling out that the Knicks won't actually play and try and get Damian Lillard in a year or so or something like that. Again, it's all going to come down to how the Trailblazers perform next season, in my opinion. If they have another bad season, then you'd almost think that it'd be kind of interesting to see Damian Lillard maybe even traded or something like that. But again, another team that I think will be definitely interested in, potentially Damian Lillard, and that is going to be the Miami Heat. Now, the Miami Heat are another big destination type of team, but Miami Heat are in a very, very good position right now. I mean, they're probably in one of the best positions in the NBA. They got Jimmy Butler, who is their only max player, who, in my personal opinion, is one of my favorite players in the NBA. I love Jimmy Butler, and I think he's a very, very good and underrated player. Then they got Bam Adebayo, who's still in his rookie contract, who is playing absolutely out of his mind. Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, and Tyler Hero, who are all on their first or second year, who are playing extremely well. And then they've got, they'll have a bunch of cap room eventually to maybe go after someone like Giannis Antetokounmpo or maybe even Damian Lillard in the potential future. So I think that would be extremely interesting, and that would be, honestly, probably one of the best big threes in the NBA. I mean, Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo. That would be absolutely insane. Imagine that starting five. Alright, let's just get this underway real quick. Imagine if, let's just say they sign, I don't even know what center they would really go up. You know, like a Tristan Thompson caliber center. Like, not really great, but not that bad either. That would be a really interesting, because Bam Adebayo has actually played like that power forward type of position throughout the year, and Myers Leonard's kind of played more center, I would say. I mean, yeah, he's been playing that kind of stretch five type of role, and yeah, I'd say Bam's been playing a lot more of that. I'd say that kind of the power forward type of position. But let's just say, maybe they decide to keep it that way. They get a decent center. Then you'll have a starting five of, Damian Lillard, potentially Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and whoever at center. And then they'd probably have to lose players like Kendrick Nunn, etc. in the trade. But they'd still have heaps of players coming off the bench, potentially, Myers Leonard, Jay Crowder, Derrick Jones Jr., Tyler Hero, etc. It would be a definite championship contending team, and I think would be really interesting to kind of see on the floor. And yeah, I think that would honestly be very, very cool. And who knows? I think the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks are definitely like the two teams that could potentially look to maybe even try and trade for him. Obviously, there'll be a couple other teams here and there that will look to try and trade for him as well. You would have to imagine. I mean, teams like, who really knows? Like, I'd say teams like the Bulls, Chicago Bulls would definitely look to trade for him. Potentially, I have no idea. Really, honestly, I think right now the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat are the two main teams that are honestly going to be looking to try and trade for him. But I honestly think a sneaky team like Dallas or OKC will probably try and make a play for him in a year or something like that. Maybe not OKC, because they're probably going to try and start a rebuild. But again, we don't really know how OKC's free agency is going to be going off. I mean, they might look to trade Chris Paul, but could end up keeping Gallinari, or could look to do a sign and trade with Gallinari and trade him. Again, we don't exactly know what's going to be happening. But honestly, I think Damian Lillard, he's going to stay on the Trailblazers for another 1 or 2 seasons, I would think, before trade news was to ever, come underway, because the Trailblazers may have had not the greatest season, but they are looking to be in actually a very good position. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Carmelo Anthony are currently their 3 best players going forward at the moment, with Hassan Whiteside, who's been injured a little bit, but has also been very good. Trevor Ariza looks to be a nice piece for them to have as that kind of 3-and-D type of small forward. Also, 37.2%, I believe, from 3. And then they have players like Rodney Hood and Zach Collins, and Nurkic will still be coming back from injury. And then maybe they might look to sign an actual bench unit this time. And obviously they still have Anthony Simon, Gary Trent Jr., and Marius Arizona, and obviously Nazir Little. So I think the Trailblazers are in a very good spot right now. But anyway, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA news and NBA content. Definitely comment what are your thoughts and opinions. Do you guys think Damian Lillard should request a trade? What team do you guys think he should request a trade to? Or do you think he should stay at the Trailblazers? And what's the future of the Trailblazers going to look like? Are they going to contend eventually? Or what's actually going to happen? Again, I definitely would really like to know your thoughts and opinions on this all down below. But also don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, MIRL/vlog channel. Links for them will all be in the description down below. So yeah, definitely go check them out. Definitely go check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for that will also be in the description down below. So as I was saying, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.